Greetings to you all, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Kuchando podcast, Kuchando Conversations. This is where you discuss everything. This is where we have unfiltered conversations on any topic, but of course we've got to be safe so that we are also given a car by Sewik. Yeah, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Please do subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed, and like this video even before you watch it, because it's going to be straight up fire. And also turn on your notification buttons, and make sure that you watch us every week. We'll try to be consistent and bring you the hot news. So today we are going to be political. We are going to dive into the politics, and what else than to just start with the African politics. I think this one is not really African politics, but it's the genocide that is going on in Congo. The DRC, I think, is the country with the most minerals, the whole world, and a lot of countries from anywhere, from outside, they want to benefit from these minerals. And a lot of these countries that have a lot of minerals, they end up suffering because these countries that want to benefit, it favors them for these countries to have war. And then in the end, like, DRC has always had war. Like, have you ever known DRC to not have war?
Of course,
It's
no.
always at war. So I feel like it's in our best interest for DRC for us to have a Africa that is united, a Africa that stands together, a Africa that is a one complete country. South Africa sent troops to DRC, and now they are all gone because they've been killed there in DRC because of what's going on there. What's your take on what's going on in DRC?
You know, it's my the way I look at things normally is it's the same question, like why. You know, if you look at DRC now, if you look at what is happening in DRC, it's a sad situation that is happening in DRC. But the question is, why is it happening now? And the DRC government is actually blaming the rebels, the M23 rebels, and they're saying they are being led by the Rwandan army. They're actually blaming Rwanda for funding these rebels. The war existence. Then you send South African soldiers to try to resolve these issues, and they are wiped out. You ask yourself, if the M23 are capable to wipe another, like, regional South African army, or they are not. Probably they are not capable. So is Rwanda involved? But now the question is, why is Rwanda being involved? I think we can actually find similarities. This story with the Libyan story, where Gaddafi was trying to unite Africa, and Rwanda now is trying to grow in Africa. We have Congo that has minerals that are very important in the whole world structure. Then there's tension between Congo with minerals and Rwanda that has the fast growing economy in Africa. So why is it happening now? And the question is, who is interested in that scenario that is happening now? That means there's an elephant in the room, like that we always say, like, that we are not seeing. Because now if Congo decide to attack Rwanda, that means whatever Rwanda is trying to build is going down. Whatever Congo is trying to put together with minerals is going down. But the sad part is people who are dying in
So do you
Congo.
feel like the Rwanda, the story is coming from the fact that there's an elephant in the room that doesn't want to be seen, or we already know them, but of course we cannot point them out like that? Or it's a matter of Rwanda is actually involved? Because I feel like if there used to be a Congo and Rwanda war, it wouldn't benefit anyone. So do you feel like probably they are setting up, because people in their minds, if you plant something in people's minds,
Yes.
they'll end up believing it. So if you
Yes.
keep on telling them, no, it's Rwanda, now there's gonna be war between Rwanda and them, because they now believe probably Rwanda is the one that's there, or probably it's the one that's there. We wouldn't know, but I wouldn't believe. I don't think is it to the best interest of Rwanda to have a struggling DRC Is it to their best interest? I wouldn't know. Or maybe they are captured, and then whoever captured Rwanda is using Rwanda to get to DRC. I don't think Rwanda, to their full personal capacity, they wouldn't have the resources, the guts, the will to just go and attack DRC like that.
Yes.
There has to be someone involved in it.
Yeah, I think of course there's always someone involved. Like you said, you can't point at them. But the question is, what exactly in Congo, like you said, is it diamond really? But to my best of my knowledge, it's diamond is one of the least thing that people they are going there for diamond.
There's the nuclear one.
And that's cobalt and coltan. They used for nuclear. They used to build private jets, war jets. They used to our phones, our PlayStations. You see, now it's a tech world whereby money is being made in the tech world, and Congo is one of those things that is one of the nations that can provide such things.
All of these things.
I always tell that, if you see minerals in Africa, don't go for those bigger minerals, the higher diamond and gold. No. Look at those small minerals. You find who is interested. If you find who is interested, I was telling someone, like, what is the expensive product right now? Is it diamond, a gram of diamond, or actually an iPhone 15 Pro Max? What's the cost of making an iPhone 15 Pro Max, and how much is it being sold? That means someone is making a huge profit in those coltan minerals that are only found in DRC. So how best can we extract it? If DRC is selling diamond and is selling gold somewhere and it's peaceful, we need to find a way to penetrate DRC, because for me it doesn't make sense. And why, if you see South Africa now, I don't say South Africa is a bad thing that is they are getting involved. But if you see now South Africa right now is trying to be everywhere. They've been in Congo, they've been in Gaza war, the court taking Israel to court, simply suggesting that there's someone who is funding all this charade in order to extract minerals from DRC Congo. How much did the Common Mix PlayStation 5 makes during the Valentine's Day? Way too much money. But all this is it titanium, lithium is coming from Congo. So they keep on funding wars in Congo, and they are saying this M23 general has a history already, he grew up like this and this and this. But for me it's always a charade. But something has to be done.
Yeah, definitely something has to be done in Congo. You also touched up on the Gaza war. I feel like what's going on in that area is not right, and we have to call it out. It's a big thing what South Africa did, taking Israel to court, and they actually won. But it wasn't like really a victory to say stop the war. It was like this is a genocide. This is a genocide. So at least that's progress to say this is a genocide. But I feel like the world on its own is structured so that the elite, they like rule the world, whatever they want. Because now you have the USA sending aid, but they can't really send aid to help everyone. But they are not telling Israel to stop the war. But at the same time, so it's kind of like they are trying to play both sides. They don't want to piss off Israel. They also want to look as if they are helping these other guys. But if they really wanted to help these other guys, they would just be like, guys, stop the war. Fine now. If the USA was to say stop the war right now, the war would stop. It's fine.
It's interesting when I was watching news, that court case that you're saying, you find out this lady, is it Lerato Zikala, was one of the lawyers that was representing South Africa, right? A South African based lawyer, a South African nationality, is representing South Africa in a court.
Yeah.
Let's go to Israel, who was representing Israel. It's the Western. Is this guy Von Low and the other guy Shaw?
They have their own representing, and it also goes back to show a lot about South Africa on its own. Like they send their own to represent. They don't be like, no, they're like, because when also the COVID came up, they had the university vets there that was like, we are also going to do our own vaccines and start doing it. So it also goes to show as well in South Africa and them.
It shows boldness and tenacity. You can't just wake up and say I'm representing South Africa, but Israel actually outsourced lawyers. My question is, if another country, let's say, I won't mention the country, but it's from the West, the country is from the West, actually provided the lawyers, that means you are somehow supporting genocide there. Because if you are not, interested, if you see that this genocide, you will like, we don't want our lawyers. Whatever that happened, just happened.
Yeah,
but you have the guts to say, no, don't know what, I will send you lawyers.
But they can always say the lawyers wanted the money and all of that.
now.
Because you see lawyers, they represent criminals that they know that, okay, this one really did the crime, but then they'll still, so, it's kind of tricky with lawyers.
What is happening
it's
in
part
the
of their
world
job.
now it's terrible.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
absurd,
very,
yes.
very, very terrible.
Yes.
Yeah, so this year we have a lot of elections that are taking place. I think we can start with South African elections. We just brushed through it. I do follow a lot of South African politics. I stayed there in South Africa for about 6 years, so I know quite a lot. And personally, from what I think is in South Africa, you do have people that know that, okay, this party can do this party can do this. I feel like now in South Africa, if you have a problem, the first person to go to, or the first party to go to, is the EFF.
Yes.
They will come and support you when you have your protest. They will come and help you and all of this. But when it comes to voting now, people know that, okay, ANC is not good for us, it's not good for whatever. But when it comes to voting, ANC is the safer option, because they are like the devil that you know is better than the devil that you don't know.
Yes.
So you want the help of EFF whenever you have a problem. But when it comes to voting, you don't want to vote them in, because now you have your own mindset of, are they going to this? Are they going to? I feel like the bigger issue with the EFF is the land reform issue.
Yes.
So I feel like if the EFF was to be voted in power, they do the land reform and they do not do corruption like what happened in Zimbabwe. Because what happened in Zimbabwe is mostly corruption that was causing everything, because we have the resources, we were getting the money, but misuse of those resources under the Mugabe era led to Zimbabwe like plumishing like that. But if you do the land reform and then you do not have corruption and all of that, you cut it down, you use state resources for benefiting the state, the the country and all of that, I feel like you might be okay, or you should be okay, something like that.
The problem is, our country is, Zimbabwe is very small, and if people wanted the country to be better, it doesn't take a year or 2 years.
Yeah, very quick.
Very quick. And but now the problem is, whatever that is happening now, people want it's a get-rich scheme for certain individuals. You can actually see how the Americans remove other sanctions and remain with 11 people on the list. It shows you how much people are trying to reach it, to create wealth for themselves and their families. But we have structures that we copy from Look East Police, we copy from the West, and if they are implemented nicely, we can be a better country. But
do you feel like those structures that we copy from the West are the reason why we are not prospering? Because now we have a lot of stuff, like especially our education system in Africa, we have a lot of African things that, like, we don't need some of those. I was watching this other, but he's American, this guy that goes around asking, let's say he gives you $1, he asks, what should I give the other person? And then so he gave someone $10, and then the person that he gave $10 was like, give the other person money for textbooks. So now he was going around the campus, university campus, asking, okay, this is $100 for textbooks, what are you doing? And then someone would be like, I'm doing drama, I'm doing this, and then he'll be like, nah, I need a proper degree. I feel like in Africa we have a lot of that. Like, you'd be like, okay, you're doing this degree, but I feel like, is it really for Africa? Because you find out someone is doing something to do with space, and like maybe you want to be an astronaut. You do not have a lot of astronauts in Africa, African countries, but you want to be an astronaut. Where do you want to work? Probably in America they have a lot of astronauts that are going there to NASA. Where are you going to be employed? You get what I'm saying?
I think it's for me, I like what you're saying. What we are copying, if it's implemented correctly, we are going to make it as Africa. But the problem is what we have adopted. What we have adopted, or what we have inherited. When this Western people, or this Western, the colonial ended, we inherited their systems. Those are the systems that are not making us successful. Because if you come to the UK, if you go to Australia, what they left in Africa is not what they are practicing.
No, now, yeah.
Yeah, so the syllabus that we adopted from Britain is not the same syllabus
Not the
they're
same
using now.
now.
That means if we are copying their system now, we can and implement it correctly. That means we can make it. But the problem, we've adopted a system for 1946 system, and they're still trying to make it
now.
push it to work. If you come here, if you go for university in the UK and find their courses, you'll be amazed. Some of the courses you'll be like, who studies bees and how they made, who studied cross pollination, fauna and whatever. But if you go to Zimbabwe, it's just like marketing degree, heritage degree.
Now everyone wants to do a finance degree.
You see now.
Everyone wants to do marketing.
now.
Everyone wants to do
You see
accounting. Everyone wants to do.
But if you go now, I saw here in the UK there's a Taylor Swift program. You see, people are actually saying, what are you studying? When you're studying Taylor Swift. But now it shows you how much they are moving with their syllabuses. They don't care about you studying law. If you're studying law, they have a specific part they want you to study so that you can catch up with this modern world. Because, but we have adopted this series of old nonsense programs now.
Do you feel like we still have culture in Zimbabwe? Because I know in South Africa, the Zulus, all of them, they have Indoni, where they meet up different cultures. Every single tribe in South Africa, they still have their own traditional way. The Xhosas, they wear a different. The Zulus, they wear thing, and then the Zulus, others, they expose their breast, others they do not.
Yes.
Others, and it's linked up with being a virgin. I had a Xhosa friend that used to tell me that almost about 90% of Xhosa people in South Africa, the men, they go to the mountain. Most of them, they go to the mountain, and it's something they take pride in. And what happens at the mountain, you don't talk about it, and everyone respects that. You don't find when your brother is coming back from the mountain, they'll be like, okay, so what happened? They don't even ask, because they're like, it's tradition. That is part of course. A lot of people that I talk to will be like, oh, but you're speaking Shona. No, but language, yes, it's part of a tradition, but then it's like the basics of it. We need like the deeper in of the tradition. Do you think we still have it? I know in Bulawayo, in Bulawayo, they still have their own Ndebele tradition. They've kept it. But then in Shona people, do we still have that?
Personally, I don't think Zimbabwe still have an identity. Yeah, the Ndebele people, they are still trying to put everything together. But when it comes to the Shona people, to be honest, we don't think we still have.
I feel like
identity.
Lobola is like what's left.
Lobola is it's left, But now it's not being done correctly. At the end of the day, people are going there and pay $500 US and say, you write the security down, and they don't even show up again. Yeah. Some people, they go and pay Lobola when they see that the girl is pregnant. When the girl is 7 months pregnant, now you see a guy say, I need to go and pay. If you look at the pictures correctly, if you zoom in the pictures, you find out that the girl she's pregnant.
Yeah.
If you see like your friend has went to pay Lobola, go and crop the pictures. You see someone pregnant there. That means
that's when
it's no longer being done correct.
Yeah.
You see, and if you see the grocery list now, you'll be shocked.
And I think with the Zulu culture, it's very important for you to like send the letter, just like how they used to do it back in the day. They pride on that. Like they say, if your man does not send that letter, then the whole process does not start. So you have to send the letter, and then it has to go through the post and all of that. Here it's like, mama, my boyfriend wants to come in.
You see. And the sad part is even the weddings now. Although the white wedding is not our culture, but now you can actually see like kids. If I my wedding, when I'm doing my wedding, you find out my firstborn and my secondborn, they're actually the ones holding flowers. You see, but back then it's a lobola. Then you take your wife through a wedding. But these days, people do whatever they want. And the girl just go without pregnancy. She's like, I'm not going back to my to my family. You see. So all these things, even anatete, anasekuru, achambogashwa paswa na guys, sit down, let's talk about all these things. Let's talk about all these. Our tetes don't even know what's going on. Your tete will be like, you can't wear a long dress going to see a boyfriend. Just find a short or a bum. They advise me to do that. So come on, we don't have identity in Zimbabwe.
Yeah, I think we'll dive deeper into the identity part. So now we can browse through, I think, 2 major topics left, but the the first one, we just browse through it just like that. The United States presidency, they have an election coming up. Personally, for me, I feel like Joe Biden hasn't done much, and the way he handled the Ukraine war, I don't feel like that's it. I feel like if it was Donald Trump, he would have negotiated with Russia way back. He would have negotiated well, and Putin also said he wanted to join NATO and all of that, and then they refused for him. So it's actually to the best interest of for America for it to be at war with Russia and all of that. So personally, for me, I feel like maybe Donald Trump could be the better option based on how Biden has handled everything. What do you think?
I think right. Donald Trump is the best option for many reasons. Now solving whole handling this Ukraine war, of course. There's a lot of things that Donald Trump was able to stop Putin to do, and there are a lot of things that Donald Trump was like, no, we can't do this as people. We can't do this to each other.
Way of life, everything.
So, but now Biden, a lot of things have caught up with him. Age.
I think both of them, it's the oldest.
You see now.
They know in the election races, both of them are the oldest.
You see, and all of them, they are not popular. You see, people they don't know even.
No, but I feel like Trump is popular though. But Trump is like those tens, those people that really love Trump. Yeah.
I appreciate or I love what Trump has done. You find people filing impeachment, and after a few years you are back again in the title race, and it shows a lot of things about the guy. And for me, I wish him well, to be honest. Because Biden has not done anything. With Trump, you are guaranteed wars will stop. The first thing is peace.
The peace.
Whatever they do with their economy, I only visit America. I don't stay there. So peace first, and I think Trump is the best guy for peace and all these issues that we are going to. I know it's sensitive about LGBTQ, but Trump has a strong stand and say we don't want this, we don't want that.
Same as Rishi Sunak.
you see now, but now even Rishi Sunak is, I can't comment really because but he has a stand there, but he's losing popularity because of all those stuff.
Yeah, I feel like now I wanted to dive into the whole Triple C saga, but then I feel like we can do that as a separate thing and then just probably add it on. So now I would like to just dive into the cost of living in the UK. The UK,
Crazy.
The cost of living,
Crazy.
rent. You have rent, you have everything, even
crazy.
Like food. People that have been in the UK for like a longest time, they tell you that this bread that is now £1.60 used to be like 70 cents back then, and it's getting ridiculous.
Crazy.
It's a lot of money, and I'm not even sure now, like what's supposed to happen, like where should they go to cut down the. Because now the election campaign, they're going after foreign nationals and the dependent situation. They've cut down dependence. They're doing all of this. What's the way forward? Do you think there's any way forward for what does the next person need to do? Like,
yes, this issue is just that we are global orphans. The citizens here, they know things are tough. But now they can maneuver around and make it work. But for us now, because the first thing when we're moving to this nation is we are going to make more money. We are going to change our lives. So now, if you come here and you see like, it's not what I thought, then the first one disappointment kicks in. The second one confusion kicks in. That means you don't even now. I don't even understand what's going on. So exactly what we're supposed to do. If the realistically is us not being here, realistically. But now, where should we go? We can't go back to my country because it's worse down there. If I stay here now, the system is not in my favor, because most of the jobs that people are doing here, it's minimum wage. That means if you're on minimum wage, even the government expects you to live minimum.
Minimally,
So
yeah.
you can't expect yourself to be driving a Mercedes Benz, yet you are returned minimum wage.
Yeah.
Who is on minimum wage in Zimbabwe? People like Gadgels, Gadgeri, people like shopkeepers. They can't drive a car. So you are on a minimum wage here and you expect
Yeah,
to
you
drive a car.
expect to drive
So
that
that means
one.
it can't happen. Let's look at people who are actually doing proper professional jobs. Things are hard for them, but they can maneuver around because they are not on minimum wage. So you can't do anything. If either you change your country or you suck it in and try to live
To
beyond.
live in,
Yeah, it's for
Do you
us.
feel like after the elections, because maybe it could be like an election thing to to win the votes and all of that? Do you feel like after the elections, the whole dependent, you bringing dependence and all of that, do you think it's gonna change after the elections, or they're just going to keep it and run with it?
I think personally, I think if the elections goes or they are attending, it might change. But for me, I feel like they are making room. The Russia-Ukraine war has caused a major change in the UK. I feel like whatever that is happening is in order to create a space for people who are moving from Ukraine coming this side.
Oh,
So I feel like they are trying to create space for those people who are. You see, now they're saying some immigrants should go to
asylum
Rwanda.
people.
You
And,
see. So I feel like they want to create space.
so
to
all
one
the
of their own.
African asylum seekers are going to be sent to Rwanda.
Definitely.
And then the other ones, it's going to be like that, so that they.
That's what I feel. So seeing things changing, I don't see anything changing for now. And it's said that's how if you find out that the minimum wage is going to be increased, the pension is going to be reduced, it's going to be increased, it's going to be reduced, sorry, and the tax, and if all these things are being done to make life, they're saying it's making life easier, but at the same time it's making things difficult, because if you increase my minimum wage, that means everything is going to
everything is going to also
see. I've checked, the electricity has increased, the gas has increased. So the issue is they don't want us to stay. I can't really comment that now, but they don't really fancy the idea of us bringing our families, our relatives
just
here
come
in this
alone.
nation. They don't really fancy.
Do you think it will reduce migration, or people will just come either way?
Yeah, Zimbabweans, Africans will find a way, but with this country it's different. I don't think it would definitely reduce migration. It would definitely, but coming to the UK, that means people from Africa now find the next destination. I've heard people saying about Australia, America. So that it's at the end of the day, they will sit down again, Australia and
Find
America
a
and
new
UK,
thing.
and say, people are coming to Australia. Why can't they come that side? Now they will open again in the future. So
all right, so we'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll discuss the whole Triple C saga. Right, so we are back again, and now we are going to dive into the major issue that is going on with Zimbabwean politics. We won't get too deep in it, but we'll just brush through the surface. Personally, for me, I don't believe in political parties. So personally, I don't believe in political parties. I believe that political parties have agendas. Political parties are people that are running an organization or a group together. So if you want change, you can't really make it, because it has to be discussed by everyone, and then everyone has to agree on whatever change that you want. So that's what political parties are. But if you actually have a president, because if you vote for a president, you're not voting for an individual, you are voting for a political party. So that political party has its own needs, has its own wants, has its own everything. So that president will have to do what that political party wants and their agendas. But if you vote for an independent president, then they have their own independent mind, and every decision is theirs. That's my take on it. But do you believe in political parties, or do you have the same stance?
Yeah, of course, I believe in political
parties. He believes in political parties. So for those that believe in political parties, we have Triple C now, that is was started, founded by Nelson Chamisa. And when they founded this party, they said, there are no, like, there's no political structure
Structures, yes.
in terms of the, so we'll just go to the elections without a political structure. After the elections, all of a sudden, there's one political structure in the party without any definition of everyone. That's why recently BT came out and said, based on the 2019, which was MDC Alliance structure, I am the vice president. But then when they found the Triple C, they told us that there's no structure when it comes to their party. So how did BT end up thinking he's the vice president based on 2009 structure? And how did Chabangu just come up and say, no, this political party has a structure and I am the chief of staff? But then what else? Who else is in other positions? And also, they accepted Chabangu's letter and not Chamisa's letter. Why?
You know, people, we always say that politics is a dirty game, and it has shown that politics is a dirty game, to be honest. And I've been listening to Gift Osalo's interview with DJ Ola, and the guy was actually admitting that, you know, we are now a laughing stock, and he was actually highlighting issues like, you know, if Chamisa is the founder, why are you accepting a letter without Chamisa's consent?
Yeah.
And that's the question to be addressed, like, why exactly?
Why?
That means there is someone behind all this, the judge who accepted the letter. There's a story behind why did they make a decision of accepting it.
The letter.
So that means whoever is behind it, the goal is, Ostalos was saying that, you know, Zanu PF doesn't have 2/3 of majority in the parliament, and that alone is hurting them. So in order for them to go where they want to go, or to be where they want to be in 2030, Vision 2030, they need to have that majority in the parliament. So that means they have to find a way to get seats in the parliament. One of them was to recalling Chabangu's letter to recall MPs, and they go re-elections. They do another election, and Zanu PF member wins, and they occupy that seat. So in general, Zanu PF got what they wanted. So whatever that is happening, the benefactor of whatever that is happening is Zanu PF. That means whatever is happening in Triple C, the problem or the major cause is Zanu PF. So if you are benefiting from my problem, that means you are part of the whatever that is happening.
Do you feel like because now we are at a stage where we have 2008, we had problems, we have 2014 problems, 2018 problems, we just keep going through the same cycle of problems, and then now 2023, same problems, and we are still going through the same thing. Do you feel like they probably there has to be some form of dialogue that has to be, like a discussion on how do we go forward with this thing? Because when Changirai came in, he had a dialogue in 2008-9 there, and then Mbeki helped the dialogue, and then the country was actually stable after he went in, because he was given money by the United States and all of that. He's a familiar face to them. So do you feel like we need a dialogue? Because this thing of trying to always fight and always going to elections, always doing this, is clearly not going to help, because we know the outcome of the election all the time. So I feel like there has to be a political dialogue so that everyone, gets in, and then there's a fair distribution of, okay, Chamisa, you probably become vice president and you run these, institutions, and then I don't know.
Dialogue is always one of the solutions, but the question is, if I want to make a dialogue with you, if I want to talk with you, the question is, what are you bringing on the table? And on this matter, what is Triple C bringing on the table? Because if I'm a leader and I want to discuss with my opposition, the opposition should have, especially one key thing, should be a threat to me. But now Zanu PF doesn't feel threatened with Chamisa as it stands, because the party
is it Chamisa or Triple C? Because I feel like Chamisa still, because a lot of people have been bashing people that have been going against Chamisa, and like, because I feel like it's never been Triple C, it's Chamisa. It's never been MTC, it's Morgan Changirai.
But now, if you are an individual, or if your name is being popped out there, what else can you do? What else can you do? Nothing. It is not even threatened with Chamisa. It might be because the numbers, the Twitter and stuff, but when it comes to the ground right now, Changirai could rally people to a strike or to a demonstration. Chamisa can't do that as he stands. So ED has nothing to lose. He has nothing to lose. So I don't see a dialogue being done now or anytime if you look in the future. But now, if Zanu PF wants to centralize power or to make sure they cement their position in Zimbabwe, they should have a dialogue within themselves. Like, you know what, guys, we now have the majority, we now have the power in Zimbabwe. In order for us to be heroes, to be legends of this game, we need to change certain things. What should we do with transport ministry? What should we do with finance ministry? They should have internal dialogue. Like, we are failing. People now, we have taken the country. It's now ours. So we can do whatever we want. But I think the only thing we can do is to make the country better, so that we can put our names in history. That's what I feel.
Mm-hmm. So, based on that, what do you think is the future for like ordinary Zimbabweans? Because a lot of Zimbabweans, someone was telling me that, I don't know if it's true, almost about 4 million, no, not 4 million, 400,000, almost about 400,000 migrated into Europe, UK, all of that.
Yes.
Last year alone, in 2023, almost about 400,000. That's like a huge number. And Chiwenga, when he was still health minister, he came out and said the way they are taking our people in health, nurses, carers and all of that, is a crime against humanity. That's what he said, because the migration is too much, and there's a lot of migration, not just even in the UK and all of this. There's like American migration, there's Australian migration, there's Canada, there's a lot of other countries. A lot of people are also going to Dubai as well, and the people in Dubai are going there to also work at the airport and whatever. So it's a huge migration issue. Do you think like that's the solution for Zimbabweans? Or we say Zimbabwe is educated. A lot of the people that are educated in Zimbabwe, or the brains of Zimbabwe, they are outside of Zimbabwe. We have like what we probably have now 10 million people in Zimbabweans outside. Do you feel like we should also all go back into Zimbabwe and start building the Zimbabwe that we want? Because you have money.
Yes.
You can come up with someone that also has money. Probably go to someone like Wicknell. You can, he invests in your idea. You guys have built like a hotel or something that is like 14 stories. You start running that hotel. Someone else comes up, does the same. They go to maybe Scott Cooper. They he invests with them. They build like a private hospital, and starts going like that, piece by piece, bit by bit, and we build a nation.
If I go back to Zimbabwe right now, basically whatever I'm doing as a businessman, I'm leading to, my ties are leading to be to Zanu PF. Definitely I'll sit with Passion Java, I'll sit with Scott Cooper and end up as Zanu PF member. I think,
don't you feel like we all have to like do that?
We all have to do that, but I feel like our people have to be educated when it comes to political structures and political environment. In order for me to go back to Zimbabwe, I need to infiltrate their political space. Once I sit on infiltrating the political space, now I have a better understanding of what to do in Zimbabwe. Because if I just go there now, you are surprised I'm becoming a deputy minister of finance, I'm going to be corrupt as well.
Yeah.
But now if some countries, they do martial law as a compulsory subject in their universities, because they've seen that the countries are bound to go to war. In Zimbabwe, our country has political disease. That means politics as a course should be mandatory to everyone, so that everyone understands where we are coming from,
where we are going, and where we are currently. Because in South Korea, everyone has to join the army for at least 2 years. So maybe it should be like a 2 months course that everyone has to do.
Because they feel like they are under threat. You see, so you need to be a soldier. For us, we are always under threat financially, economically. So politics should be number one priority. Not because I want to make a living. I have to have that as a short course, as a crash course, to understand where we are coming from and where we are going. And now, I was seeing Andrew Tate was talking about that Romania, their country was built by Romanians who were here in the UK. They were making money here,
And then
to
going
Romania,
back. Same thing as Israel.
you see now. But for us, we can do that.
Yeah.
But now the problem with Zimbabwe, we have been, if our country is failing to make money or to change things as a country, as a unit, now I'm comfortable. Like, we failed as a country. We all tried, but we failed. So let me go and help my country. But now the problem is we are not failing because the whole country failed. We are failing because certain individuals have decided to pocket everything for themselves.
So do you feel like for us to not go back and invest back into the country, even though we have the money,
Yes.
do you feel like it's a matter of you are scared that maybe someone else might come and poke into whatever you are doing and be like, oh, I need a share in that. Oh, you didn't involve the government in this. Oh, where did you get this money? And then there's a whole process of, oh, you need to.
You see, I think the fear is there. The fear is always there, because if I go there, I'm going to be a Zanu PF member. People who don't want to be Zanu PF members, where are they?
The thing is, if all 10 million of us go back, there's no way all of us are going to be Zanu PF members.
You see now.
There's no, because the party cannot accommodate everyone. They
But
cannot accommodate
someone
everyone.
was saying 90% of people who left Zimbabwe, they are cowards. 90%. Those people, they are not bold enough to go back to Zimbabwe.
Go back.
Only 2 people.
But I'm sure if you created an environment
Yes.
where people can actually feel free to go back and you give them security, because security is the major thing. Because if you right now go back to Zimbabwe,
Yes.
you get a farm. You're probably not buying that farm. They'll give you that farm, and then you start plowing whatever. You build your farmhouse there, and then in the future, when you do something that the person that gave you the farm does not like, they might chase you out of the farm.
Yes.
So you need that security to say, this farm is secure, it's going to be yours as long as you are using it right. And then every year, because a lot of white farmers back in the day, they never had years where they would be like, no, this year we feel like we are tired. They used to be consistently
Yes.
bringing in. So if we get that security to go back to Zimbabwe, I feel like there are a lot of Zimbabweans in the diaspora
Yes.
that actually have money that can help assist Zimbabwe to move forward. Especially even with a lot of countries are built by sole traders, like small companies.
Yes.
A lot of these small companies, imagine how many small companies are going to employ a lot of people.
Yes.
Once you employ like 100 people from maybe 10 small companies,
Yes.
these 100 people are now buying amongst each other in these small companies, and they are also helping buying in other companies, which will profit goes up. So it just it becomes a cycle. And also the GDP as well. These small companies are contributing and all of that. So I feel like we can grow Zimbabwe like that.
We can't grow Zimbabwe like that. But someone who was saying that every land belongs to ED in Zimbabwe.
Yeah, in Zimbabwe.
So in order for you to acquire that farm, probably you need Zanu PF has to be involved.
There's to be involved.
And if Zanu PF is involved, that means you can't do anything against them, because if you do that, then you lose the farm. And I don't think that's the fear we are talking about. I don't want to be in an environment whereby I'm afraid what's going to happen to me if I say something bad. If I was saying this, whatever I'm saying now, when I'm sitting in Zimbabwe, I have to look over my shoulder every time I walk. Like what I said yesterday might get me in trouble. So, in order to create that environment, Zanu PF should not be there, or the Zanu PF should have changed their skin or whatever their actions they do to impose fear on people. So basically, people are not going back to Zimbabwe, to be honest. People who are going back to Zimbabwe are bold. They are maybe 5% or 2%. The rest of people who left Zimbabwe,
they're staying outside and they're changing nationalities.
You see, nationality, they are actually, they prefer to suffer here in order for them to get papers. So that means the country is already dead. And why is it dead? Because we are still leaving the same country to the hands of the same people who are the masters who have colonized us internally. That means, you see this structure. His sons their deputy ministers. That means after 10 years they're going to be on senior positions. That means the whole country is, for the next 50 years, they're going to be with the same people, the same very people. People who have been disappointed in Triple C, where are they going now? Most of them, they are going to migrate. You can't
outside.
You can't lose your position as an MP and still stay in Zimbabwe. That person is going to be in America, seek asylum somewhere, and we have lost a political brain in Zimbabwe. and you are left with people who are bootlicking Zanu PF, who are receiving cars from Zanu PF, and those who have brain, they've come to Australia, and whilst they are here, they are seeking for citizenship. So it's gonna be interesting story to watch for the next 40 years.
Yeah. But I feel like a lot of countries have gone through, like, stages, and America now, they got their independence when, like, hundreds of years
Yes.
back, like almost 200 years now, or 100 and something years. They've had like all this time for them to, they've had a president assassinated, like, in public. They've had all these processes. So now we are on our what? Of course, we had a dictator. So if we never had a dictator, Mugabe was there, 30 something years.
Yes.
If it's 10 if it's like 10 years per president, that's like you covered the space of like maybe 3-4 presidents, and then we have another president now that's almost doing his second term. So that's almost like we've had like 4-5 presidents, looking at the number of years since independence. So maybe we need like 10 presidents to say, okay, now we are getting there. So a lot of countries in Africa, they will get there eventually, because it's
we should be hopeful. We should be hopeful things will get changed. But I always feel like America now, they have been having internal issues. To help matters, if we are having internal issues only in Africa, like if this is Rwanda, they are having their internal issues. We can say in the next 20 years things might get better. But the problem, you are having internal issues, and someone external again is trying to be part of those drama.
It's like when these countries, I think in West Africa, when they got their independence, that were colonized by France, they're forced to sign a document so that all their money goes to France. And so now if you are fighting that, which is until this day, it's still the same thing. So if you are fighting that, and you are fighting your own internal issues, you are fighting this, it becomes hard.
It's hard because you're fighting war in two fronts.
It becomes
if they leave us alone as Africans,
because now in Zimbabwe they say we have sanctions, so now that's always the excuse. So now it's like
we find an excuse. So if there were no sanctions, that means it was clear, like, okay, so what's the problem here? Because we don't have sanctions. So now whoever comes on power knows, like, there are no issues with the sanctions, so I have to better this country. But now everyone has an excuse, like, because of sanctions I can't do this. Because of water I can't do this. Because of drought I can't do this. You see, external forces are infiltrating Africa. So that's
and
the
then
problem.
I think lastly, we can discuss on so there's a church, right? So there's this guy that had a church. I think the church was somewhere in Harare. And then, so this church had members. It's a Joan Masowe. So it had members and all of that. And then he just woke up one day. He said, okay, guys, go back to your homes. And then when you come back, we are going to a farm somewhere outside of Harare. It's in another different place. This farm is like 150 or so hectares. We are all going to stay there. So these church members had houses everywhere, property everywhere. And then he told them that you sell your houses, and then after you sell your houses, you bring that money and give it to the church leader, and then you will start staying in this farm. But now you just go and build whatever you can build: plastic houses, brick houses, houses from thatch and all of that. Just stay there, and that's now your life. So how they do it is you stay there, and all of you are working in the farm. What you grow there, you give it to the leader of the church, and then when you give it to the leader of the church, he distributes it now to everyone. And then he says, okay, you have 2 kgs of sugar, you're going to use that for so and so a period. You have this, and then so from some that I saw, they're complaining that sometimes there's no sugar, they don't give you. And then even underwear, like your own wearing clothes, everything, you have to request. If you see that, I'm running out of clothes, you request to the leader of the church, and then he goes and buys the stuff. And then someone was saying she requested underwear, and then it came after a year from her requesting it, and the one she was wearing, imagine you request that you no longer have, and then it comes after a year, the one she was wearing was already torn and all of that. That's how they live their life. And they've been told that Jesus is coming, so stay in this place. When Jesus comes, we are the holy ones. We are the ones that are going to stay, and then that's it. It was a big thing on news. They call it Canaan, the whole place. My take on it, I feel like religion brainwashes people. Religion makes certain individuals do certain things, and then everyone can just that's how we got colonized through religion. So I feel like it's, I don't know, it's do you blame such people, or you like, yeah, they can, if you want to live like this, who am I to be like, no, you cannot live like this? That's what you feel like is right. So I don't know.
It's said that something like that is still happening in this modern day. It's very sad, to be honest. And when it comes to our country, Zimbabwe, I always it's a product of a failed state, or a product of a failed political governance, to be honest. Because where are they when things like this are happening? Because if you can't do that here in the UK,
the UK, and get away, no, you
can't get away with it, because you are being watched.
And they even said police was scared to go there because they get attacked and all of that. Like, how is the whole police scared?
You see now.
They have to bring a whole unit of police, like thousands of police, just to raid this farm.
You see now. And all these church members, or this religion, if you find out that this, for example, Joan Masowe is saying, for example, Joan Masowe and the Sewikino out there is the same church. That means if you have someone powerful like that, let's say in that church, then that person still sees things happening and they keep quiet. Yeah. That means now there's a problem.
Yeah,
there's a problem. So the country, or the government itself should be inside the church structures. They should be inside. You see what Rwanda did? Rwanda banned most small churches. They banned, like, this is the constitution for all religious sects.
Yeah.
If that happens, things like this will never happen.
Because there's a lot of manipulation that is going on the name of church religion.
I feel like, I'm a religious guy. I'm a spiritual guy. But I feel like there's too much power that has been given to the church.
To the churches,
to the extent that there's a story again with a man of God slapped an old woman.
Yeah, yeah, I saw it. Yeah,
that guy was given hours for community service. That was the punishment he was given.
Yeah,
you see,
that's assault.
You see, assault. There was too much power
manipulation.
In
yeah.
Is it too
and
much
I feel
power?
like the ones, especially with the one I was talking about,
yes.
The ones that suffer the most are the young kids. Because now, when the police went there to raid, they were like only 4 or 5 kids that are under the age of 18. A lot of them even under the age of 16. Only 5 had birth certificates.
You see now.
Over 100 did not have a birth certificate. And most of these young kids, even 14 and them, they are already married, because the pastor said you can marry even if you are 13. And even from that marriage, they have a kid. Imagine. And then they also have this structure where if you die when you are in their premises of the church, if you died this morning, they don't take you to the police to do whatever death certificate and all of that. They just bury you just like that. And it's like a small burial, and because even part of the charges where they found burial sites that were shallow. Like, imagine just digging something as if it was dug by your hand, and then they just place you there, and then they just as if, because some people were saying when you are walking in that premises, you even see like bones, like just there, people's bones, because they were not buried deep down. They were just buried on a shallow thing. And then someone was saying a lot of people are complaining that their daughters, when they go there, they don't come back. Like, they just, it's like a kidnap sort of like a thing, but they don't come back. So it's like a whole major issue. And if the government was to get involved in a lot of these churches, it wouldn't such things wouldn't happen.
That's the products of a failed state, to be honest. And like I said, we have too much power in church. Like I said, the government should do better when it comes to those things, and a government should have a stand. If you see the proceedings of this story, you won't understand what's going on. If they can take this one and make an example out of it, people will never do whatever they are doing. But the problem is because our government or our political leaders, they see those people as their votes. What matters to them are votes.
Our votes,
So,
yeah.
in as much as you are committing adultery, in as much as you are kidnapping kids, as long as you are a vote and you are loyal to the
You're
party,
loyal to the party,
then
you're fine.
you're fine.
Yeah.
And we should not be in that position, to be honest. If you push a kid here, you are in trouble. Let alone a kid staying here. You know, when you bring a kid here, they ask me after 2 weeks, like, you know, did you register the GP?
Yeah, GP, what's going on?
Did she
Everything.
receive a vaccine?
Yeah.
But in Zimbabwe, no one cares.
No one will be asking you of all of those
If you have
things.
polio, as long as you have a vote,
Yeah.
if you are not a vote, if you are not a Zanu PF vote, you are in trouble.
But with the vaccinations, I've seen they do like really, like if you go to the hospital, you can't really use with kids.
Yes.
Public hospital.
Yes.
If you don't have the kid, every kid has a book,
Yes.
and it should be vaccinated.
Yes.
You can actually get into trouble
Yes.
as a parent
As
if
a
you
parent,
don't do that.
yes.
Yeah. So they should all get vaccinated.
So that's one of problems in Zimbabwe. Religion, like I think you mentioned about how religion brainwashes
Yeah,
people.
manipulation,
Up to now, you know, we are told to wait for money. We are to pray and fast for money, and nothing has happened. If prayer was on a success equation, Zimbabwe should be the richest country in the world, because we pray for money every single
time.
day.
Yeah.
But now you look into countries like China, countries like even here in Australia, in UK,
And a lot of people in the UK, almost 90 or so percent, they're not even religious at all. Keep asking people here, so do you go to church? Like, nah, I've never been to the church
see?
my whole life.
You see
I
now?
was like, oh,
You see?
okay. What?
So we have been brainwashed, and it's not a bad thing. We have been brainwashed, but we have been taught a certain gospel.
Yeah, that fits whatever propaganda they want for us. I feel like religion is okay, Christianity, everything is fine. Just use it right.
Yes.
You have to read the Bible your own. Don't let some pastor at church there spread their own propaganda just because they want to fit in 1, 2, A, B, C, D. You have to do your own.
Yes.
Be yourself with the Lord and understand God yourself, and everything will be fine.
You see now.
Yeah.
So it's said that even a youth, you find someone with a degree being misled by a certain pastor who's telling them that you should give me 10,000 and your life will be changed.
Will be changed.
and someone after 5 years, someone is complaining. I used to give this pastor this amount, this so, but still
and then nothing
I'm
happened.
broke. You say, well, you have a degree in economics. Why were you giving another man 10,000
years.
You see, you have a degree in law. That's logic. You should use your logic. Why have you been giving someone this so amount of money? And if logic, you should ask myself, we are 200 in this church, and if you're giving 10,000, that is how much money is it? And what are we using that money as a church?
For
You don't do outreach, you don't do Christmas gifts for kids, and so where's the money going? You should use your.
You are not helping building houses for church members that are in need. Someone is staying in a shank, but 1 million was donated to the church. Why can't they build a house? They say, okay, families get 1 room, something like that, or build flats.
I personally have made something for myself. I was like, okay, fine. I'm starting to pay tithe to myself. As a spiritual person, I have to pay tithe to myself. That means every month I these are not savings. I take 10%, I put it aside. I take 10%, I put it aside. So after 1 year, you find out you have saved a lot of money. Now from that money, now you decide, okay, fine. I have relatives who are not going to school. Now I can pay. I can do something good with that money than sending you somewhere whereby you find that someone is driving a Mercedes Benz tomorrow. But now if I put aside that this is the 10% tithe, now I can ask, okay, because the Bible said that the one who can't take care of their relatives, they are more worse than an unbeliever.
Yeah, than non-believer.
So I would rather take care of my relatives than doing all these charades.
Yeah, because you find someone is rich, but their relatives have nothing. So that's the only way to do it.
We can't talk about this guy who's giving cars
Yeah, but yeah.
You know.
We also want to acquire.
Yeah, we did acquire.
So yeah, acquire.
We did acquire.
So this
But,
comes to the end of the podcast. Do you
yes.
have any last words? you'd
No,
like to say?
it's been a good week for us. It's been a good week for us, and Trambo disappear. Mwaenda kwa America, mwasara. But now we are back. We are back in the groove.
Yeah. So make sure you catch us here anytime. If you come to our channel, you will see us. Please subscribe and turn on those notification bells. Once we are a little bit more consistent, we will have a specific day in which we'll just be posting our podcast. Probably Monday looks like a good day, or Sunday when people are coming back from church, wherever. So like, share, subscribe, and share with your I won't say that. Okay.
Take say we know for the acquire.
Take say we know for acquire.